Hello and welcome. Now the US market and the Indian market both are down. FIA is selling the 200 while the Sensex fall 1200 with the Nifty breached the 23,000. Indian equities are slumped in trade. Now the Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex crashed 1,281 points to the 1.6% and the locked with the intraday low at the 76,000. Meanwhile, the National Stock Exchange Nifty breached the 23,000 level but dropped the 395 points to the 1.68% on the today's low day low at around 22,986. Now the 30 shares, Sensex closed 1,018 points on the 1.32% lower at around 26,293 and Nifty 50 around closed 309 points to the 1.32% lower at around 23,071. At close at the Bombay Stock Exchange, Zomato, Tata Steel, Bajaj Finserv, Tata Motors, Power Grid were among the top laggard and losers. Similarly, on the National Stock Exchange, Eicher Motors, Apollo Hospitals slipped over 6%. Shriram Finance was down over 4%. Bharat Electronics and Coal India were down over 3% and were the top 5 losers. The tariff hike by the US President Trump on steel and the aluminum imports are flat and a 25% to exports in rising the worries for the investors. Not just that the his plans to impose reciprocal tariff on other countries over the next 2 days is also worsening. Now, the global brokerage Nomura believe that the reciprocal tariff by Trump could hurt the emerging Asia, such as the India, China, and Thailand, more than developed Asian economies, Hong Kong, Singapore. This move is negative for India as a US in the country's largest exporter, which involve the top 3% universities, which destinations which account for the around 18% of India's total exports, around 2.2% of gross domestic product. Now, as of the physical of 2023, with the Indian US trade surplus rising in recent years to high of nearly $38 billion in 2024. That said, last seen that the Nifty Metal Index fell over 1%, while the JSW Steel, Hindustan Zinc, Ratan Nani Metals, NMDC down over 4%. So the Eicher Motors share slipped 6.8% in trading, losing and intraday low at around 4,966 with the 15% shares on Bombay Stock Exchange after a company recorded a weak margin coupled with a profit booking. Eicher Motors posted a weak than expected earnings before interest, tax depreciation, and the amortizations. EBITDA margin, which contracted 190 basic point to 24%. Now, the quarter 3 of a financial year 25 from 26.1% to a quarter 3 of 24. Besides, the Apollo Hospital share slipped 5% on the intraday low of around 6,285 per share on the Bombay Stock Exchange. The Nifty of the Apollo Hospitals share price came amid the profit booking after the company posted a strong quarter 3 results. Analysts said Apollo Hospitals consolidations profit rose 51.8% year on year to around 3,072 crores in quarter 3 financial 25 from the 255 crores in the same quarter previously fiscal year. The revenue from the operations climbed 13.9% to year on year for the 5,526.9 crores in the quarter 3 financial 25 with the 4,850 crores in the quarter 3 financial 24. Now, foreign institutional investors are a continuous selling Indian equities, which is a denting market sentiment. On Monday, FIIs sold 2,463% crores of equities as per the NSDL data. FIIs sold 78,027 crores in January, and so far they have sold 85,841 crores worth of equities. FIIs could wait for the local currency stabilize before the committing any significant investment. Therefore, their selling may continue till March of 2025. Now, weakness in broader markets and a sectoral index. So to the Bombay, a stock exchange mid cap and the small cap slipped over 3% and each in the trade. Last seen among the BSC, Bombay Stock Exchange mid cap players, individually PV Fintech, Unominda, Escorts, Kubot or the Lupin slipped over 6%. Now the JSW Infra, Voltas, Oberoi, Realty, Torrent Power take over the 5% on the Bombay Stock Exchange, a small cap index among the others. NSGL, the fine a chemical drop over 15% with the Goldine International was down 13%. Aeroflex Industries were down over the 12%. You know, Jekyll and the Senko Gold were down around 90%. On the sectoral front, broader based selling was seen. Nifty Realty slipped over 3%. Nifty Auto, Nifty FMCG, Nifty Pharma, Nifty Oil and Gas, Nifty PSU banks over 2% each. Mixed global market in Asia. Chinese stocks trade over Trump imposed tariff on the steel and aluminum exports with mainland China. A consumer price index a 300 down 0.40%. Shanghai down 0.12%, with the Hong Kong Hang Seng down over 1%. Japan Nikkei was flat with positive bias. Meanwhile, in the European region, Germany DAX was flat with the positive bias. United Kingdom FTSE was 0.15%, and the French stock 0.12%. Technically, a Nifty 50 faced resistance around the 23,450 near the central pivotal range, but the fix to break above this rejection at CPR signals continue a bearish sentiment among traders. Additionally, the average directional index formal a negative crossover, reinforcing the weakness. This suggests the sellers remains in control and the further downside pressure could persist unless a reversal occurs. For bullish sentiment to return, so the Nifty 50 must close above 23,450, which should indicate strength and the potential upside continuation. Rather, this for than the traders should be cautious as further decline or consolidate with lower levels should continue in the short term. Now coming to the Amber Enterprises, India down by 7.64%, Voltas down 5%, Blue Star down 4%, V-Guard Industries also down 4.85%, Havells India, Rajesh Exports, Whirlpool of India, Kalyan Jewelers, Crumpton, Consumer Electricals, all these stocks down by 2% each. Now on yield, all India's 10-year benchmark federal paper was 1.33% to 6.82% as compared with the previous close at a 6.822 in the foreign exchange market. The rupee edged highest against that the dollar. The partial convertibility rupee was covering around the conversion of $1 as according to country with the 86 paisa rupee compared to the 877 during the previous trading session. Now the MCX gold further, which come across the April and 25% settlement, which saw by 0.13% to 85,562. The US dollar index DAX, which trade greenbacks value against a basket of currencies, was down 0.04% to the 408. Now the United States of America, the US bond yield added to 0.31% to 4.59% with the commodity market. Brent crude the April of 2025 settlement gained 79% and the 1.4% to 76 per barrel. Now the stock faces the downward pressure for the US president reinstalled a tariff on the steel and aluminum, tech, airlines and biotech stocks weakness. Now while oil prices push over producers stocks hires, the Nasdaq fell a 75.41 points with the 19,643, S&P 500 to the 2 point and the less than a tenth of percent of 6,068, and the Dow and Jones 1.2% and the 0.3% to the 44,593. Now stocks moved down toward in early trading, lingering a concern over a global trade war, and after President Donald Trump officially announced a tariff on the US steel and the aluminum imports. A statement from the United States said Trump is reinstating a 25% tariff on the steel imports and increasing a tariff on aluminum imports to 25%. Asian Pacific stocks turned as a mixed performance on Tuesday, with the Japanese market closed for a holiday. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index slumped over 1.1%, while the South Korea Kospi advanced 0.7%. The major European market all moved to the upside on the day, while the Germany DAC index climbed to 0.6%, the French CAC 40% and the index to 0.3%, and UK FTSE 100% index inched up by 0.1%. That's all. I shall see you soon, very soon.